Hey everybody, it's Joe Bear here, your fabulous host of Fashion Minute. Today we're covering the Spring Summer 2026 Chanel collection by Matthew Blazy. Yes, the finale of all finales of all of the debuts that we've seen this month is finally here. The collection that everybody's been waiting to see, Matthew Blazy's debut collection for my beloved Chanel. And if you didn't know, I am a huge Chanel girly. It was one of the first brands that I ever connected with fashion. Thank you, Father Karl Lagerfeld. And I just want to say I'm a huge Matthew Blazy fan. I've been following all of his work since he was at Bottega, and now him being at my beloved Chanel. It's just a match made in heaven. So I'm super excited to see this collection. But now with all that being said, we have got to check out my fabulous outfit inspired by Chanel. And let's go. All right, everybody, that's my outfit. Matthew's on the phone. He's waiting for me to get to the show and do this review. Come on, guys. Let's go. As the entire fashion world held its breath for the last finale of the season of debut collections from a plethora of houses, all eyes were finally focused on Chanel's feature under Matthew Blazy, formerly of Bottega Veneta, who turned our heads toward the heavens above, due to a quote by Gabriella Chanel herself. I love everything that is above, the sky, the moon. I believe in the stars. With this, he turned Paris's Grand Palais into the Grand Planetarium of space, featuring planets of our solar system. Matthew stated, for his first Chanel show, I want to do something quite universal, like a dream, something outside of time, and as I was fascinated by the universe of stars, a theme so dear to the house, we all observe the same sky. I think it provokes the same emotions in us. Matthew Blazy metaphorically and astrologically guided us towards the unknown to shape a bright and new future for the House of Chanel under his leadership. In a way, he reminisced and transcended his own timeline with this collection. It was almost as if he was telling us his story of leaving the planet of Bottega Veneta and now transcending to the planet of Chanel. And from the very beginning to end of the collection, you can clearly see a transcending evolutionary procession of like the more straightforward Bottega looks in the first half of the collection. And even through the first half, there were deviations of like men suiting that he did for like women when he was at Bottega. There's a sort of grounding to the collection, literally like a grounding of it to the planet of Chanel. You know, there might be, in the beginning they were wearing like a Bottega look, but they're grounded with those Chanel shoes. So that's a real metaphysically metaphorical, sign there, what he's trying to tell us. With like the more traditional classic dual tone Chanel shoes, as the collection proceeded, it transformed and evolved into what we can clearly recognize as quintessentially Chanel. But this was a Chanel that was inspired by the early fluidity of the 1920s silhouettes. The first sign of pure Chanel-isms were the matching silky red, fully beaded, slouchy blouse with like the rose sleeves, with a matching red beaded wrap skirt that was like mid-length, mid-calf and length, decked with like the stacked pearl necklaces, which was then like blazified, if that's a word. I'm gonna use his name and turn it, it's blazified, honey. Which was like blazified into like the shredded camellia headpiece that had like a similarity to the last collection that he did at Bottega. It was absolutely gorgeous, and it could easily be catered to like clients of all ages at Chanel and styled with like a pair of jeans. But like more on that, you could clearly see that Matthew clearly thought about how he could please the current Chanel clientele in the more conservative looks, but you know, it like had like the long sleeve embroidered sweaters with the mid-calf and then skirts, because you know, women, they don't want to show too much, especially when they get up in age, while also bringing in like the more modern clientele with the more relaxed chic styling and the easy to wear transitional staples like the button downs, the silky t-shirts, the hip slinging skirts that kind of reference the flapper skirts of the 1920s, but were more modernized for today, the wrap skirts and like the cocoon jackets and the mullet skirts. But the pieces that I wanted to see the most here was how he was going to reinterpret the traditional Chanel tweed suit, and he did it by relaxing it in a chic, modernist way that replicates how women dress now. I love the white, black, and red skirt suit with like the above the knee skirt with like the matching colored vertical striped oversized flat bag, and the pattern of the skirt suit was very like reminiscent of patterns you see from the artist like a Mondrian painting. It was just stellar. And also what was stellar, really stellar, were like the crisscross woven patterns he used for like the section like of a red and white or like the black and white versions made like out of like a yarn that was crocheted into knots, like that created like a translucent knit for like the skirt suits and like, you know, Chanel's famous sweaters that you could wear over the little Chanel dresses. They reminded me of contemporary artist Cedric Hendry's plaid series of artworks, and the woven tweeds reminded me of his playground inspiration, where he turned a playground into an art sculpture. They were fabulous, honey. I would wear them in a heartbeat, and whew, he did that, you know. And speaking on how he did that, he definitely did it with the bags, y'all. They were truly the only referentials of like the outer space show set, and they were so brilliantly done. It's almost like they were frozen in space and time. The way they were all open, crumpled, and like wrinkled. It was brilliantly done, just brilliantly done to do pastors in that manner, especially the first purses that you're gonna present to the world. But they were just chic. Like, I want to walk around with I want to like crinkle up my Chanel purse and wear it like that. I'm not doing that though, seriously. I would only buy those. But anywho, but I just love when like designers, they give us so much context and bring so much context to the collection. It truly makes me burst with joy. And on the flu side or flowy side of things, he played with transparencies and movement. There are two dresses that were sheer, one black and the other semi-sheer. It was like a nude pink, embroidered with like three-dimensional flowers. But these flowers were made of yarn, and they were sublime in a way. The way they looked, like when they moved, they looked like animated scribbled flowers, like movement, especially at the hem of the dresses. It was just so playful and flowy. The way the flounces just bounced around, it was just fabulous, just truly fabulous. And I love the way he referenced Father Karl Lagerfeld's finale skirts from spring-summer 2015 and spring-summer 2017 of the Chanel Haute Couture collections, but he turned them into like mullet skirts. embroidered with like the three-dimensional shredded camellias and the curled feathers worn over and tucked into like that relaxed, oversized, silky t-shirt blouse, I want to say. It was just the epitome of chic, honey. Chic, chic, chic. That's what chic looks like. That's what, you know, that's what you want to look like if you want to be chic and you want to wear like that big flowy embroidered skirt with like a silky blouse and you just want to look fabulous. That's how you do it. And in a way, this three-dimensional floor skirt and the model who wore it epitomized the moment. The skirt representing the bursting creativity coming from Matthew, and the model representing a new energy, because at the end of the show, she got out of line with the rest of the models and she twirled around in the dress and she clapped and she just gave like a celebratory in the moment, and it gave a sense of blissful energy, excitement, and joy as Matthew came running out to give her like the most warm embrace of the biggest hug. It was just truly an amazing moment for Matthew, the model, and all of us who just love the House of Chanel. It's definitely in good hands, and there's no doubt. And I can't wait to see the journey that Matthew takes us on, because he is truly gifted and talented. And as time goes on, he is going to just show us so many unique things for this house that he learns from the atelier. And that's the beauty of fashion, you know. With time, it becomes beauty. Alright everybody, that's all there is anymore. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of my channels. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And with that being said, guys, bye-bye.